Okay, so intervals. An interval is a distance between two notes. In fact, it's an interval between anything. So the distance from myself to surgeon could be known as an interval. Okay? If it's repeated, then that interval is being repeated. That space between us is being repeated. The same thing happens with notes. So an interval is literally just the distance between two notes. Okay? In grade 9, you're only concerned with a numeric distance between notes. So if I start on the bottom line and I go to the third line, I need to figure out how far apart these two notes are. So to count an interval, you always count the bottom note, everything in between, and the top note. So in this example, the bottom note would be 1, the space would be 2, and the top note would be 3. Yes?
When also, number 1, do you also follow unison? Like, when you're also called unison?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So the bottom note is 1, the space in between the two notes is 2, and the top note is 3. So this interval is called a third. If I started on the bottom space and went to the third space, what do you think that interval would be called? A fifth, because the bottom note is 1, the line is 2, the space is 3, the line is 4, and the top note is 5. So that is a fifth. Be known as a generic fifth. What if I started on the second line and went up to the top line? Bottom note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. John. It's a seventh. Good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a generic seventh. You count the bottom note, the top note, and everything in between. So here the bottom note is 1 on the line, the space is 2, the line is 3, the space is 4, the line is 5, the space is 6, and the top note is 7. Okay, so it's a seventh. Intervals can be written as harmonic or melodic intervals. The only difference between a harmonic interval and a melodic interval is when it is played. So these intervals that I just wrote are all called harmonic intervals because they are played at the same time. So the bottom note and the top note would be played at the exact same time. And they look like this. They're stacked on top of each other. Okay? So what interval would that be?
Fourth.
Good. It's a fourth. And more specifically, it's a harmonic fourth. It's harmonic because both notes are being played at the same time. So often when we play in class, we're playing harmonic intervals because, say, the saxes are playing one note, the flutes are playing one note, little brass is playing a note, trumpets playing a note, clarinets are playing a note, but you play it all at the exact same time. Okay, and that creates a harmony by playing them at the same time. If I wrote this exact same interval melodically, it would look like this. So if I'm in 4/4 time, there's my melodic interval. So instead of it playing at the exact same time, they're separate, so it creates a melody. So every time you change notes on your instrument, when you start at the beginning of a song, you play a note, then you play another note, and then you play another note, and you play another note, and it creates a melody. Those are all melodic intervals. Every time you switch notes, you're creating a melodic interval. So they're just played separately. So what number, again, is associated to this? It's still a fourth. Okay, just like before, it's still a fourth, but now it's a melodic fourth. Okay? Any questions so far? Pretty easy. A good trick when you're naming intervals is to know that if you are on a space and a line, your interval should be an even number. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, those are all going to be on a space and a line. If they are both on a space or both on a line, it's an odd interval. and you want to check to make sure that you're correct, you can just have a look and make sure that your pattern is correct. So here and here, is that going to be even or odd? It's both are on a space.
Odd.
Odd. Okay, so now count it. What would that interval be?
That'd be 4.
4 is even, though. See? So that it tipped you off that you were wrong with the 4, right? So there's a fifth. Is it harmonic or melodic? Harmonic. Good. From here to here, is that going to be even or odd? Even, because you're on a line and a space, one of each. So there should be some even number. So what is the number associated, Stephen? 6. Good. That is a sixth. Is it harmonic or melodic?
Melodic.
Good. Melodic is when they're played separately. Okay, so this would be bum, bum. I can sing it myself. Bum, bum. That's that interval. This one I can't do by myself because it's at the same time. Okay, so it would sound like, give the piano a second to warm up. Okay, so the harmonic interval sounds like this. It's played at the exact same time. Whereas the melodic one is played one at a time. That's melodic. So would this one be harmonic or melodic? Melodic. How about this one? Harmonic. How about this one? Harmonic. Okay? So harmonic when they're played at the same time, melodic if they're played one at a time. Okay? Yeah. So that's about it for intervals. You don't need to know specific intervals this year. You only need to know generic ones. So you should be able to do your work. Don't forget with those call and responses, you're just making up a rhythm. So if you're in 4/4 time and the first 2 measures are using eighth notes and quarter notes, in your 2 measures you're going to want to use some eighth notes and quarter notes and end with a longer note. Okay, that's for when you're creating your rhythms. And you are going to work until you get to the page that says tonic triads. So when you see tonic triads, stop. Don't do tonic triads because you're going to learn that next week.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.